the spot September 16th, but I think they would have to make it a pay-per-view, and I don't think they would do that to have two pay-per-views in back-to-back weeks. Welcome back to Hey Jive Picks, the #1 channel for all things MMA and sports betting. Make sure you drop the subscription down below. Drop a comment on any videos you want me to talk about. Drop a like to support the channel. And let's get into the video. So the UFC put in their permit request for September 16th, and it was originally for the Apex, but it's now looking like it's going to be for the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, which, as we know, is not a small arena. And it's usually where they hold the pay-per-view events in Las Vegas. If they're going to do a fight night, it seems like they're content to do it at the Apex. So what does that mean? Are we getting another pay-per-view in September? Because currently, September 9th is going to be UFC 293, and that's in Australia. This will be a week after that. So does that mean there's another pay-per-view? Because if we look at the schedule now, UFC 294 would be in October, and that's in Abu Dhabi. So are we getting UFC 293.5? Or are we just getting a change for UFC 294? Or are we just getting a glorified fight night? We could. Could be either way. But if I had to guess, it'll probably be a championship bout. I think it will be. I think it'd be hard. You'd have to have a really good headliner to put in there to fill that arena. It's a big arena. And a fight night there, it could happen if it's big enough. But if we look at what's available for the title fights, there's not many title fights out there that could be made. And especially if you're going to have UFC 293 right before it in Australia, which is probably going to be a fairly big card. Right now, you're looking at Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. But then I think to myself, you're really going to put Colby Covington, who he's going to sell tickets for sure. He's going to sell tickets. He's probably going to sell pay-per-views. Are you really going to put him on a pay-per-view or even it could be a pay-per-view that we don't even have to pay for, because they sometimes do those. If they have enough of them in a row, they'll give you a pay-per-view or a numbered card for free. And just put it on like ESPN Plus or ESPN or ABC or something. But in this case, if they put Colby Covington the week after a pay-per-view and it's a fight night, I don't think they would ever do that. So I don't think that's a possibility. If it is another pay-per-view and they just move it up and it's a real pay-per-view that you have to pay for to watch and it's not just a free one, I could see that. Because you look at the other options for Covington versus Leon Edwards, it's Abu Dhabi, possibly MSG, but it sounds like John Jones is going to be headlining that one if they can get that fight finally put together. And then the one in Vegas at the end of the year, which would be UFC 296, I believe. That one sounds like it's going to be Conor versus Chandler. So could you put him as a co-main on something? Sure. But I don't know if you'd want Colby Covington as a co-main. So they could be putting him in this spot September 16th. But I think they would have to make it a pay-per-view. And I don't think they would do that to have two pay-per-views in back-to-back weeks and make you pay for both. So that leads me to believe that's not happening that day. So then we go down and we see Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prochazka, which is the same deal. I don't think they would do that. Maybe could be. Because if I remember correctly, Glover Teixeira and Jan Blachowicz in Abu Dhabi was a numbered card, but it wasn't a pay-per-view. You didn't have to pay for it. That's a light heavyweight championship fight right there. And we're getting one here with Jamal Hill and Yuri Prochazka. If Yuri Prochazka is healthy enough, that could be an option. It could be a numbered card. They could even do 293.5 if they already have 294, labeled with everything in Abu Dhabi. If they just do 293.5, that's a possibility. Or they could just do a fight night. But if they're gonna have a championship fight in a men's light heavyweight division, I think they would at least number it in some fashion. So that's a possibility. But what I'm kind of thinking, and it's honestly maybe the, I don't want to say the worst outcome, but maybe not as hyped up of an outcome. I think it could be Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko for the belt, and they could make that a glorified fight night because I think they're looking at this card, UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana, and they're seeing how low the engagement is with everything for the main event, and they're like, all right, if Nunes can't if Nunes can't bring the hype for a main event of a pay-per-view, Valentina and Grasso is probably not going to do any better. So I think they're looking at that one, which is always going to be a good co-main event. But if they just throw it on there as a really good fight night in Vegas right after a pay-per-view, I think that is the most likely. I think that's probably what they do because that's the only other fight sitting in the wings other than, John Jones as the champ. Izzy's probably going to be in Australia. Islam's going to be Abu Dhabi. Volkanovski's already booked. Aljo's booked. Moreno's booked. Everybody else is booked. You look at the women's division, Weili's booked. Nunes is fighting this weekend. So if I had to bet my money, it would be Grasso versus Shevchenko as a glorified fight night. But the other two possibilities, Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prohaska in a pay-per-view that is you don't have to pay for. So a numbered card that you don't have to pay for. And then the highest possibility or the highest outcome, I think you would say. Lowest possibility, I think, but the highest outcome of like what the fans would want would probably be Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington on a pay-per-view card. And they just move it to 294. Would be the week after UFC 293. It'd be crazy if they did that. 2 pay-per-views in a row would be absolutely nuts. They're putting together an insane second half of the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Hopefully we can get all these fights booked and nobody pulls out because that's always a risk that you run. It seems like people are pulling out left and right, but I'm interested to see who they actually put in as a UFC or the September 16th card in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. Won't be at the Apex, so that's always a fun, that's always uplifting. If it's not at the Apex, it always adds just a little bit more juice to it, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for watching. Drop a sub down below. Drop a comment if you got any lean on what you think it could be, or maybe I'm completely wrong and it's just not even a championship bout and it's just a really solid fight night. But yeah, drop a comment what you think. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Going to be coming to you with more content, and we have the watch parties, so stay tuned for that. Hit the Instagram at HeyJivePicks, at HeyJivePicks on the TikTok as well. Till next time, HeyJivePicks signing out.